to At the Office, Cleveland's home for sports talk that never clocks out. From the latest headlines to heated debates, we're diving into everything sports. It's your hosts, Noah and Matt.
Cleveland! Welcome back into the At the Office show, the Cleveland sports show where we talk all things sports, and you can join us too here at the office. You can drop us a call, actually, if you so please, 216-260-3433, or shoot a comment wherever you're watching it, whether that be on X, whether that be on Facebook, whether that be on YouTube. We just appreciate the support no matter what. I am your host, Noah, with my co-host, Matt. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
I'm wonderful. Excited to be back for another episode on a lovely Thursday night.
It is a lovely Thursday night. The Ohio State Buckeyes won last night in convincing fashion against the Oregon Ducks. Your boy over on our other show that I do with our other co-hosts, John and Eric, I am 8-0 in picking the outcomes of the college football playoffs. So you best believe come next week, they are not going to hear the end of it when we're predicting who is going to the national championship. Listen, I want to shout out real quick Fans for Sports Network, our parent network here. They always help us with, everything we do. So I want to give them a shout out real quick. Matt, before we get into our main topic of what we got going on today, we're going to talk some Guardians prospects. We're in the lull of the MLB offseason right now. Not much news has broke since the winter meetings. The Cleveland Browns announced this week that Bailey Zappi is going to start at quarterback. What were your thoughts when you saw this news break?
I mean, honestly, I couldn't care less. I'm so over the season. I'm looking at the draft. There's not much to make of it in my eyes, really.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're just seeing what they got because they might as well on a guy that was on our practice squad for most of the year. All I know is I have this weird gut feeling, and I hope I'm wrong because I want to tank for whatever pick we can get at this point, that Bailey Zappi is going to go out there and throw for 200-plus yards, 2 touchdowns, and maybe we still don't win, but people are going to think that we found our franchise quarterback in a guy that wasn't very good ever. But I hope I'm wrong, so we don't even have to have that stupid conversation come Monday when me and Matt do our next episode, which will be a State of the Union address of what's going on with the Cleveland Browns as news breaks, potential firings happening, and all of that. But that's Monday. This is Thursday. Matt, I ask you a very important question because, we did some coverage about the MLB draft. The Guardians had the first pick in 2024. Happy New Year, by the way, Matt. Happy New Year to everybody listening because we haven't done a show since the new year turned. How did the Guardians' top 4 prospects do in their first half season of minor league and or, rookie ball play? So that is the question we are here to answer today. Matt, I want to start with one. Joey Okie. So please tell me how the right-handed pitcher, who is a high schooler from Iowa, he has a 2028 ETA to make it to the Guardians, make it to the majors. How did my man do?
Well, it's actually funny. He's one of 2 guys on this list. We don't have much, MLB pro ball to talk about at all. Actually, that number is 0. The most recent competitive ball we have to talk about from him is his last year of high school, which he finished up 7-3 with a 1.13 ERA. Pretty solid. Yeah,
I think he was having a decent little, start to his career. He only pitched 49 innings, 91 strikeouts. He was down in the rookie leagues, like you said. He's a young kid. He's barely over 18 at the time of recording, I believe. But all things considered, 3rd-round pitching prospect, especially knowing what the Guardians do with pitchers, could end up turning into something very good for us. Is there anything else you have on Joey Okie?
I mean, he's really, I don't want to say a Hail Mary pick because he's a 3rd-rounder, and you see 3rd-rounders and later turn out all the time in the MLB.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys that kind of came up out of nowhere in the couple months leading up to the draft. He wasn't super known, and then he started dominating in showcases, combine, stuff like that. to the point where he was, some people were swinging him as a high second round pick. Obviously, he didn't climb that far, and we ended up getting him in the third. And like you hit on there with Cleveland's track record of developing pitching, I'm really interested to see where he turns out.
Yeah, considering, he has a 96, 97 mile per hour fastball right now, there's some potential in this arm. He's a young kid. He's 18. It's weird for me to say that he's a young kid because I feel like I should still be saying that, but I digress on that. I'm excited to see what this guy does. Maybe he'll get called up to Lake County or Lynchburg in the soon, more relatable future, and we can actually see, some play out of this guy more than just what's going on right now down in the ACL. Matt, you ready to move to the next guy?
Yeah. This one I'm actually excited about. I'll let you do the intro.
For sure. We have one Jacob Cozart. He went 48th overall, second round, 222 pounds, 21 years old, from North Carolina State. He has a 2027 ETA. He played in Lake County. If you're watching the video version right now, you can see him in that beautiful powder blue Lake County jersey. Go ahead. Tell me about Jacob Cozart.
So he only had 13 games he appeared in, in the little half end of the season he got an opportunity to play. We don't really want to talk about his average or his stats too much. He was batting 119 with a double, and that was the highlight there.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, it's, his first action in pro level ball. There's not many players that succeed when they jump up a level at all, whether it's, jumping a minor level, jumping to the majors, jumping from college to pro ball.
Yeah, and you said you were excited to talk about him. What excites you? Just the fact that he's a catcher and he was a highly regarded prospect, or what really excited you there?
I mean, I always, he's one of those guys that just seemed to fall for no reason other than other guys were performing very well, which I kind of hate. I understand it, but I think there's a lot of, talent with this guy. A lot of, MLB analysts and scouts have, pegged him as a potential top 20 home run hitter if he continues to develop. And that's really the key you're looking at is like watching his career through college. I don't have the stats down anywhere here, but you see a jump in average and home runs each year through college. He's clearly developing at a very quick rate, hopefully getting into a pro system.
Yeah, his senior year, he was batting .305 with 19 home runs. He continued to develop, like you said, in college throughout. Maybe one day he is our guy. I still have faith in my boy, Bo Naylor, but, we'll see what happens there, especially with Josh gone now and all of that as well. What else you got on Cozart, man?
I mean, really the one thing to watch is his potential with the bat. He can do some damage, and I think that's, that's an awesome thing for a team to have as a catcher that can do damage. So I really hope he ends up developing the way he has been lately.
Yeah, continue to climb up that ladder. Listen, we're going to cut to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the top 2 prospects taken in this draft by the Cleveland Guardians. For those who are waiting to hear about the heavy hitters, the number 1 overall pick, Travis Bizana, and the guy we took in the second round. We'll be right back. We're hanging out. We're having a good time here at the office. We'll talk to you after these commercial messages. And we are back talking all things sports here at the office. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button or hit the download button if you're listening to wherever you download your podcasts at. It helps us grow the brand here that we are slowly but surely trying to grow. Drop us a comment if you're watching live or not. You can call here as well. There's a phone number right here, or shoot it to text if you're not feeling like actually being a part of the show. I can read your text out. No problem. One last thing, make sure you go check out their merch site at the Office CLE. You can get plenty of merch. I don't have my mug today. I have my sticker though. Check out the merch, support what we got going on over here. Matt, let's get back into everything, though. We're talking about all these prospects. Now we're in the top half of what we really have going on. So I want you to break down for me another young pitcher from the state of California. He is a high schooler. He is also in the Arizona Complex League. He has a 2028 ETA as well. Brillan Doty. Doty. No, there's no R. My bad. Brillan Doty. Talk to me about him.
So, I don't want to repeat myself word for word. Very similar story to Joe Yoki, though. He's a kid out of high school. He has more of a, MLB pipeline story, though. He's, been on the boards, been on the radar. He's been dominant everywhere he's gone. He finished his last season of ball with a 1.11 ERA, 50 and a third innings with 80 strikeouts. I mean, that's dominant in California. Baseball is not an area that is common. That's a very impressive stat line. And he's, a guy we got for good value when you're talking about draft position. A lot of people think he fell for, again, no other reason than other guys performed well at combines and showcases. He's one I'm really excited for the Cleveland pitching development to affect and see what he does.
Yeah, this dude's he's a high schooler, right? We talked about that. You mentioned it already. He has a smaller frame, but, he's already displaying some of the traits you want to see out of an 18-year-old, whether it be his control, having the speed with the fastball that, translates to being a major league player eventually in the future. Again, we're talking about a guy that is 3 seasons away, potentially, of actually being in the majors. He's a fantastic developmental high school player. I'm glad he's in our system. Same thing with Joey, just because I think, we're known so well at being able to develop these guys, having our hands on not one, but two 18-year-olds to, shuffle up the ladder and eventually make an impact when, our cheap ass ownership decides that we need to get rid of more players because they can't afford them. We have these two at least sitting there potentially either in the bullpen or as starting pitching options as we move towards the end of the 20s, really. That's weird to say, but the 20s, you know what I mean? What else you got on my man, Brillan?
I think, going on with talking about the excitement for these two pitchers specifically coming up, both of them are known for, but more so Brillan. I mean, you can't look his name up without finding this tagline on his profile of being a smart player. I think that's a huge thing, especially when it comes to pitchers. He understands the game very well. He knows how to win this pitch, which can win this at bat. And then you look at that from the other end, where you look at the Cleveland pitching staff, top to bottom, and even some of the pitchers now. They'll be working together in Arizona in different steps along the way. There's so much knowledge there for them to absorb from some of these legendary coaches and Hall of Fame track pitchers that it can be huge for the development of Brillan.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Like I said, two young pitchers, it's all about development right now. Obviously, they're in the complex league. They're not even in the minor league system like Cozart and the guy we'll talk about next here in 1 second are. But I'm totally fine with that because I'm really excited to see what these guys do for us, way on later down the line. That's the cool thing about the MLB draft, I feel like, is that you don't always think about guys that are going to be immediate impact, even in like the next 1 to 2 years. We're talking about guys who might be an impact when we're in completely different stages of our life, Matt. We don't know what's going to happen 4 years, 5 years, whatever, whenever they get called up. We're talking about some high school kids right now. And I think that's, something I've come to learn and love about the MLB and the baseball's take on, how development and all this other stuff works, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun thing, I think, and obviously not wishing it for any of these guys because it doesn't seem fun, but, this might be the last time we talk about at least those three. I know the next one we'll be talking about a while, but this might be the last time we talk about these last three until Cleveland makes a random trade in the middle of the season. We're like, oh my God, I remember that guy from
We were podcast. Breaking him down on the podcast, man. But You already hinted to him. You already talked about the Aussie legend himself. Let's talk about the number 1 overall pick for the Cleveland Guardians in the 2024 MLB draft. One, Travis Bizana. He was the number 1 overall pick, plays second base, 199 pounds. I don't know why they didn't just give him the roundup for the 200. He is 21 years old. He played in Oregon State. His ETA is 2025. Supposedly, we're going to see him this year. He was playing in Lake County, the single A affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians. Matt, tell me about this handsome fella.
I mean, he's the future. The front office has pretty much said he's the guy. He's got to be the guy. And clearly they're confident in him. I believe for good reason. You look at the time he had in the minors, like we've been talking about, the little half season they got after the draft. He appeared in 27 games. He was hitting .238 and 3 home runs. Not a beautiful stat line, not a horrible stat line. I'd say that's pretty average for a kid coming into his first professional ball experience.
I am excited to see him climb the ranks in the minors, see him probably start in Akron this year. I don't know where he's going to officially be at to start. They might play him a little bit in Lake County the first couple weeks or month or whatever and have him climb from there. He didn't have the sexiest stat line, as you were mentioning, 238 in 27 games, 3 home runs. He did commit 2 errors in his 27 games in terms of the fielding and all of that. But, again, there's nothing to be worried about when you're talking about a guy who, between him and Condon being the top 2 guys in this draft and being the next surefire stars or whatever, I'm so excited to see him climb and get to go see him in all the different minor league uniforms and potentially in those new Guardians uniforms that were released a little bit towards the end of last year. What else you got on Bazana?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it there. He did have 2 errors in his 27 appearances. Nothing to be worried about. But that is kind of the big question mark with, his prospect profile is his defense. Honestly, I'm not worried about it too much. Clearly, I love a good defensive player. Obviously, my favorite player from Guardians teams past was Jimenez, a great defender. But, I mean, you can make up for bad defense by hitting a 3-run home run immediately after it. And that's the potential this kid supposedly is going to bring. And I think the other thing to look at is his half-season stat line. And, I'm not a big one on, getting nitpicky with the stats or anything.
Right.
You break it from, like, his first 6 games, I want to say it was, to the last 21 games. He's batting, like, 0.03. And then like 400 the rest of the way.
Yeah.
So it clearly, to me at least, looks like oh my God, I'm playing professional baseball. Okay, I'm playing baseball. Let's go. He's settled in. I'm really not worried reading his not ideal stat line.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I don't think you have the hype and the buzz. And I mean, he was my favorite prospect out of him and Condon. And I know we were, with how salaries work and money and going under slot value and all that in the MLB draft works, I was already in favor of Bizana, and I knew we were going to take him because of how cheap our ownership is. I'm going to continue to rag on that point. I am just excited to see this kid, and I want to know what your thought is. I know the ETA is 2025. Do you think we see him in an official Guardians uniform this year?
I think it's very possible. I don't think it's a guarantee, obviously.
Mm-hmm. But give me a percentage. Put a percentage on it.
I'd say probably about a 43.68%.
That is really specific for pulling it off the top of your head. I would have put it at like, with the ETA being 2025, I'd put it at 50 or 60, especially with Jimenez getting traded. Yes, I know there is a logjam for some of these interior, ball players currently, but we'll see what happens. I don't want them to have to feel like they need to rush this guy out there either because he was the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft. if it means we're going to get a hell of a player in 2026, if we don't see him in 2025 and let him slowly climb the ladder, I'm totally fine with that. I still think, despite the trades that have pissed a lot of people off, this team can still be very competitive next season with one manager of the year, Stephen Vogt. But that's just me. How are you feeling, Matt?
I mean, I assume that's a how am I feeling about the Guardians in general question.
Correct.
I feel honestly more confident than I did at the end of this season, which is really weird for me to be saying, given I'm one of the people that's upset about the trades.
It all comes down to if they'll spend some money on some pitching, in my opinion. But what were you about to say?
I think, it was a tough pill for me to swallow, and I knew he wasn't a great bat. But you're not going to see us lose more than 3 games due to fielding errors at second base, right?
Yeah.
We might not see, as many amazing plays, as many, double plays turned that shouldn't have been turned. Yeah, we're going to lose out on a bit of that, but we're not going to lose games over that. We're not going to lose the division over that. We can't get much worse at the plate, depending on whoever ends up being the daily guy there. And then you look at the Josh Naylor move. Yeah, we're getting a little worse at the plate, but we're opening the door for some of these young guys. I mean, I think there's magic to the young team that we have, and we're trying to kind of keep it that way. So I honestly, I feel very confident about this team moving forward.
Yeah, I am up and down. I think a lot of the trades and everything, and I know we've talked about this at nauseum on this channel a little bit. I think these trades hurt. I think there is potential for them to end up panning out in our favor, as some of these tend to do. I mean, Lindor wasn't doing anything great for the Mets until this season. Jimenez is on a downward trend. There's a big thing going on about Josh Naylor's weight, and that being the biggest point of contention for the Guardians to want to do something in terms of keeping him around, or, at least seeing him for another season in our uniform. It sucks. It's part of it, unfortunately. Matt, anything else you want to talk about? Any of these prospects, anything, Guards related before we take this show home?
One thing I did want to shout out, and I feel bad because I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it, so I didn't list them out. But Joey Oki, the first prospect we talked about, was the Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year his senior season. And I was taking a quick scroll through that list earlier today of previous winners of that award. And not saying it means anything at all, but there are some absolute legends down that list and studs of the game.
Such as?
And that's where I feel bad I don't have the list, and I don't really
Oh, no, you're totally fine.
You're
totally fine. I didn't know if you pulled it up while we were talking or anything.
That's my bad. I honestly, I don't even remember what website I was looking that on off of, or I would, but I remember seeing, some all-star caliber players on that list. And not that I think, Iowa Player of the Year means guaranteed all-star, but
maybe that's an award that signals what's to come out of these players if they do the right things. I get what you're saying 100%. Matt, real quick, actually, before we go to random thoughts and final takes, hot takes, I just want to give a shout out to our Cleveland Cavaliers, who are still absolutely dominating it in the NBA right now. They are on pace to win over 70 games. Will that happen? We don't know, but we're here for the ride, damn it. And I just want to shout out my favorite player on the team, Evan Mobley, got Defensive Player of the Month for the month of December. He has been absolutely killing it. We talk a lot about how he needs to become the unicorn that, we were saying he is for years. We might have a baby unicorn. That boy knows how to hit the 3 ball now and is one of the best defenders in the NBA. And of course, Coach Kenny Atkinson gets Coach of the Month. Well-deserved, I think, 110% there. He has the best record as he's not really a rookie head coach, but in his first year with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I just wanted to give them their flowers because the Cavs are absolutely killing it right now. Matt, you got a random thought, a hot take, any of that going on in your mind for today?
So I do, and there's something important I want to touch on before I start ripping the team.
Okay.
And I just want to shout out Myles Garrett, Jerry Jeudy, and Denzel Ward. Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
Got to shout that out. They're Pro Bowl starters. We had a handful of reserves alternates, but we had 3 starters. Shout out to them. Great seasons. They deserved it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, getting deeper into some of the issues around that football team right now, I can't sit here as a Cleveland Browns fan and not feel, as a Cleveland fan, as a person that claims Cleveland as my home, this situation with the stadium has gotten just downright embarrassing. The city could have done something about it years ago. The way the team is handling it is embarrassing. It's a bad look all around. News broke recently that the city's going to try to sue the team to keep them downtown. And that's just embarrassing. I mean, we're sitting here talking about a few weeks ago our path to build a competitive football team. And now the city's suing the team. Like, that's just, no other team deals with that. That's Cleveland football. That's why we're never a serious program. And it's horrible and embarrassing. That's my hot take today.
So Matt is upset about the stadium. I'm upset about everything going on with the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to keep it happy and go lucky. And instead of making it a take, I'm going to beg, plead, ask that you guys go out and vote for the Cleveland Cavaliers for the 2025 NBA All-Star Game. We have Mobley on the list. We have Mitchell on the list right now. We do not have Garland and Allen. I think Garland deserves, bless you. I think Garland, no, you're good, man. I think Garland 100% deserves to be an all-star this year. He has literally had one bad game, and yes, it was a national TV game, but he is playing out of an all-star clip. And Jared Allen, we just love you, so you should be in there anyway. I think you're an all-star too, depending on how the cookie crumbles. So please go out, rock your vote for the NBA All-Star Game, and support the guys who are doing it at the absolute best right now in the NBA. Matt, you got anything else you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
I mean, at this point, Toledo deserves a pro team more than Cleveland does. It's embarrassing.
Matt is pissed off, folks. Listen, thank you for joining us at The Office. Don't forget to subscribe or hit the download button if you are listening to the audio-only version of the show. Check us out on all socials at The Office CLE. Have a great day. Have an even better night. And welcome to 2025.